Hello, everyone,
Hello. Hey.
and welcome
Hi.
to XTechnology stream dedicated to personal growth framework. Today, I have three beautiful co-hosts with me, and we are going to talk about our main projects, the struggles about them. So you're going to hear how PizzaScript was born, Airbnb Analytics, probably something about GetConf, and Lost in Guns from Mila. I want to thank everyone for watching this with us live, because I know that Saturday is kind of an inconvenient time. But I hope by the end of the session you'll find something new for yourself, and let's get started. So I'm gonna give the word to Alex. Alex, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks Dima, thanks everyone for joining indeed. Where do we start? I think the best topic to start is actually the date. So today is 31st July. We started, can you imagine that, like a 6 months ago? That was almost the same date. It was 30 January, if I'm not mistaken. So our first event was live. Igor, Airbnb Analytics was kicked in. Yeah, so I think it's indeed today's not like a semi-summary, but a very logical episode where we reflect a little bit on our projects and talk about our motivation, how it went, how it is still going. You see this is part of our GitHub project, XTechnology /XTechnology on GitHub. Some nice slogans here. In short, we always looking for, and we motivate each other, we collaborate with each other to work on open source projects, to educate people on those projects, based on those projects, and to play around with technologies. So feel free to find, of course, more information on GitHub. We created a small organization in there, and this whole XTechnology contains of many pieces, and I think the most important pieces are indeed our technical projects. So you can see a little list here. I think they're all in a different status, so that's why we are gonna talk a little bit on our projects today. The important part of this format is that, of course, we work on our projects, but important part is always get the feedback on it, and for that we meet. I think once or twice a week internally with this club of people, and we check the status, what was done, maybe even review code that happens. Not that often, but sometimes happens. Basically we get in the feedback, so we have a better request to evaluate print loop cycle, if I may say. So Airbnb, PizzaScript, Goose Ops was the third, I think, event we had. SailMap, AI, and GetConf, and Lost in Guns. Sorry, I didn't add it to this page yet. So many, I think 6 projects, if I counted correctly. Many speakers, more than 6 in these times. We tried different formats. We invited our experts guests, how we call it, and we had really nice side talks. I can remember GS code shift. That was the last one, actually, the last one before today. JS code shift to keep your source evergreen with web components. It was a nice experience, in my opinion. So today is the 12th episode, and we thought it's nice to talk about how is it going, and actually what challenges we face during this time. And I'm honored to start. Here is a little words about myself and about my project itself. Where I wanted to start this XTechnology, we started with a couple of friends, and I already had some background with the open source projects, and of course I myself am a developer. I'm a software engineer, so I have a bunch of technical background, maybe a decade, and in the different technologies nowadays, and also not that far, not a decade, but almost half a decade ago, I started with doing some teaching and educational projects myself, and those are of different formats, those we tried open source or open formatted, even mentoring programs, but also I have with a few courses. So I had some ideas of how it can be structured. And speaking about my open source background, I also have a few things in public and open source, and actually that's a very nice experience itself. I have a small library, which by some coincidence have some number of downloads per week. Yeah, that's a surprise for me, of course. I'm talking about DayJV, and this experience itself, I don't know how even. It's very grateful, actually. It's graceful to have this project, because like at time to time something happens with your project, and that's not only bad. That's not only bad. I put here some what it helped me so far. And speaking about these open source projects, is that you have nice and surprising meetings and the proposals all over. It's not only about code, by the way. It can be of different matter. Like once I met a guy who wanted to sponsor a project, to sponsorship. So he invited me to a bar, and we talked about what his goals were, and what the main idea of he wants to achieve with this sponsorship. So I could not imagine that when I just started. That's the main point. And the more, like I heard on one conference, do stupid stuff, and that would be counted. Also I have a little bit background with a community, talking to community. That's not only public speaking, but maybe organizing some meetups and conference. So I kind of knew what's gonna happen, and that the format was exciting. I mean, I didn't know how it will work, actually, because it's nice when you have a support from someone who have more expertise. But when you're doing it yourself with your buddies, that's actually from scratch. That's actually quite a challenge. So that's the background where I came with, and with this background, what it already did to me is, since you're already practicing a lot the public speaking, and I did it with a few of these activities, it helps you to overcome your public speaking. Like you're still very excited, and of course it's tremoring all the time before that, but I think it cannot compare with the first experience, when you really don't know what to expect. So it improves in some way, I can say. I think the even better experience with it is that it's easier to you to start conversation with different people about, because these activities they're fun. You're doing it for some internal reasons, and because you are not forced to do that. It's your choice, your open choice. Then it's really easy and fun to talk about, and actually people are interested in talking about that. Just one example: when I went to some interviews, and they see, of course, some of these activities in my CV, because why not put it in there? And then I can start and talking about it for some minutes, as you can see already. And that usually that helps, because when you're talking about that and you are not forced to do this project yourself, that basically means you having fun with that. And as you just start talking about that, you already see a smile on your face. So that's a good present from these activities, I think. All right. So this is a background, and then when we just started, we of course talked what is our mission, what our goals are, and how we see it will develop in the next months. And we chosen a few goals for ourselves. Yeah, you can find more information, of course, on GitHub. I just put the most important here, and I think for myself, I just decided to pick up something to talk about today. The main goal for me, I think, with this project was craftsmanship. I see the craftsmanship as a very big part of software engineering, or maybe just IT industry people activities. I think if you're stuck with regular work and you're not getting fun out of it, you don't have excited out of it. It just sucks you in, and that can end very badly. I guess. I don't know for sure. I'm not today talking about things that I know. By the way, I just suppose some things. So craftsmanship, I think, should be a part of every day or every week or every something activities. If you like actually IT and doing stuff with technology. And the rest, as I mentioned, promote a new project and grow a new community. I saw it a big challenge for myself because we started with nothing. It was you can check number of followers on our Twitters and social media. It's not that big, so it's still, by the way, not that big. It's even less. No, kidding. No, it's not less. It's growing. Right. So just three of them: craftsmanship, a growing project community, and then when we started preparing this talk, specific one, we thought, okay, what is gonna be, and we thought it's gonna be some soft talk, and just to meet and see how it all goes, and we saw one of them. One of us proposed a list of topics that we can talk about in terms of this context. And what triggered me is imposter syndrome and procrastination. So things that I think everyone experiences in our industry. So imposter syndrome, when you think you are worse than people see you. I think everyone struggles with that eventually. And actually, that should be in the genes of every developer, because you want to prove that you are better and you develop yourself. It's a self-development path. I actually started the technical part of this project, PizzaScript, to overcome or get more experience or get more technical skills in the Go language myself. So. That was one of the things that I'm still following. And procrastination, that's also, I think, a very big word in our community, and everyone experienced that. And for me itself, at first, when I just start thinking about that, it's not that frightening. On regular basis, I don't have much free time. It's either family or work. And or sport, if I'm really having fun. I don't count it as a free time, by the way. Sport is my main activity. Now, kidding. So when I have a really free time, I can see that if I don't have a necessity of doing something, if I'm not committed to something, then I immediately start going down with this metric. I immediately start scrolling social media and stuff. Not that it's frightening me on the main activities, but when I have a free time, it takes me. It actually gets a very big effort from my side for forcing myself, not for procrastinating. However, I don't think that this is so bad. Well, technical goals. I put on PizzaScript. Indeed, this is a PizzaScript is the project that I'm working on. In fact, I made 3 sessions so far with XTechnology on PizzaScript, and this is a language that takes some fun syntax, and I myself wanted to experiment with writing programming language, and understand how programming languages work in general and how interpreters work, and also learn Go language, as I mentioned, and yeah, I wanted to combine different topics, and that's why I put the Go language, then RX Go, because ReactiveX is something that yeah, ReactiveX is a pattern of reactive streams, it's called, and I never experienced that in real life, I think. I mean, ReactiveX itself, because there are similar patterns that I think everyone have tried eventually. So I wanted to try RX Go, the Go implementation of ReactiveX, and see how it can combine together. Yeah, and understanding WebAssembly, that was a third big topic on this PizzaScript project, where I actually wanted to compile everything to WebAssembly. So those are the main goals that I chosen to talk about today, and talking about craftsmanship itself, just to see how it all goes so far. Doing PM work, yeah, I didn't mention that, but in some of the open source projects, I actually take this role of product management, maybe project management. I'm not sure. That depends on terms. And yeah, that doesn't take any effort from my side. I like to structurize things. I like to plan some things over time. So that's going fine. And craftsmanship in terms of on technology, on the PizzaScript, that I'm going to talk a little later. But what I actually encountered is yeah. However, I myself, when I have free time, I can motivate myself sometimes when I'm not procrastinating to work on to learn new stuff, to practice with programming, for example, with the other technologies. But then really big question is how to help each other, and what we do with this feedback cycle that we have on XTechnology. It helps a lot, of course, because you're not only playing with the technology, but you also are getting continuous feedback, and that helps you to choose a new topic. You choose a direction. That helps. But how can you help how can you help someone else? And that's still an unanswered question. It's yeah. I mean, you can invest your time in that, and that will help with the other projects. But actually, it's very hard and difficult. And for my own projects, I can hardly find, for example, the maintainer for one of the libraries that I was talking about. So that's indeed a very difficult story to talk in general, to help someone with his or her project. Then how is it going with promoting a project and growing a community? Well, we thought even to present some numbers, but actually we didn't prepare that, and maybe that's good actually. So I think we, at least to my opinion, it's going good. We have some goal in the end of year, and we achieved half of it, or even more at this point. So I think it's going great. So what I underestimated myself is the speakers and the peers. Like I can explain it. It's not a secret, but also not fancy information. But when doing a podcast or this show on your own, without a sponsorship, because first we need to grow to get a sponsorship, I guess. It's hard to find speakers, or you thought it is hard to find speakers, and most of your speakers are actually from your round of from your community, from your peers, and we really appreciate these guys and girls who agreed to join us either in just as viewers, as a guest, or an experts, and especially speakers, because speakers is the most difficult part of it. I think everyone who's doing a podcast like that, or let's call it a show, encounter the day when understanding that speakers is the hardest part. And for me, it's actually was it was not my realization. I just heard it from more experienced people around. So this is information that I might be helpful to know for your own activities. However, I just wanted to mention before I lost thought is that actually some people just joined us because of what we're doing, and that very great example is Mila. She will be talking soon, I hope. That's a great success. I could not imagine that when we just started. However, we put some forms, but we didn't expect much feedback on that, and it just happened. So it's great, really, and very motivating. And of course, as a growing the show, we want to get a bigger audience and more people to collaborate with, and in our framework, if we call it like that, when we have some projects and we get feedback on these projects continuously. That can be a next challenge to grow in this direction as well, and get more and more people. Then talking about imposter syndrome, I found this a very helpful actually growth mindset. I have to learn it still, some questions about that. But that's something that is called a growth mindset, and that helps you. That can help theoretically. So comparing to the mindset that I experience myself all the time is some so-called fixed mindset. When you feel like something that's happening to you in a defensive manner, let's say like that, and in growth mindset on the right hand here is well, when you get a challenge, you embrace it as something that you have to overcome, or you need to overcome even, and that give your muscle, makes your muscle grow. You better check it yourself if you haven't heard of it yet. It's even on this picture, it sounds great. On a fixed mindset, for example, give up easily due to obstacles. I can't say that it happens too much to me, let's say, but persist despite obstacles. Well, that also. I think the first, as a first point, but in different directions. And the last one, I think we can hear a few more thoughts about that in here, during this talk. Be threatened by other success, and comparing to be inspired by other success. I can. I think we can hear indeed some thoughts about it later today. But I think some of these points, indeed, I can remember about myself, and it's just basically improving yourself to get from left side to right side, and that's already a challenge. So I see this is a big goal for me to grow from left side to right side in this framework. So that's actually one of my future goals. I plan to deep dive into this matter and to grow according to this picture, let's say. Procrastination. I already said some things about it, and so how it's going. When I reflected a bit, I can see that my procrastination path is growing in it's existing in two ways. And the first way is when you have free time, it just swallows you, and that's not good. But maybe it's because of the reasons where you actually not having free time, you're always busy. So it's it should be some balance, I guess. And the second way is that if you're not procrastinating, then what you're doing, well, you are basically working, or whatever you call it. You or you doing self-development, you're watching courses, maybe some, or reading some books. So yeah, I don't personally think it's both of these ways. Yeah, the greatest path you can choose. So yeah, I will I think I combine it all in. Did I combine it actually? No, no, I didn't. I didn't make a conclusion out of it. But I think for myself, I put a goal to find a balance indeed, and to not to get into these extremes directions, but to find something in between, when you at least control what you're doing and why you're doing. So I think that's where I want to go in the next activities and then next meetups on this project itself. Yeah, and what was hard still stays hard. Yeah, I can't say that I did overcome all of these challenges so far, but it's still hard. But indeed, it's improving in many ways. And procrastination, if you just fill your time with another activity, you know, at least you're not procrastinating anymore. Yeah, and the last part in this section is about the technical goals, and I can say that this is not that problematic. This is in fact very easy if you like technology. Then yeah, learning Go is Golang, which is just great and funny, and it's incredibly how do I say that, very nice language to work with, and even if you haven't touched it ever, it's very straightforward and well, tiny, maybe very clean, and I personally enjoy it. But I heard also some bad opinions about that, but I don't experience it myself. I think I just like it. Learning WebAssembly didn't work so far. I mean, what I achieved with PizzaScript, I could compile to WebAssembly. So far, that's stop. I didn't move forward into this direction. But yeah, something about WebAssembly at least. Yeah, and finally, studying algorithm to write some interpreters. It's a heck of an effort. It's actually the most difficult part. However, it's also fun. It's also fine, and I mean, people from IT should sometimes play with algorithms, and actually, it just feels really great when you solve some algorithmic task yourself. Yeah, so what's gonna happen next? Growth mindset, whatever it takes. It's my next goal to dive in, and to indeed, I just wanna adopt it and move into that direction from left to right, and to encounter more. I can see that it will be some effort. And one thing I added, but I actually while I was reflecting, but I actually don't have an answer yet. But I experienced a lot, and I think it's related to what I'm talking today. How to properly set goals for yourself. It's something that I experienced also a long time during my career or my personal growth so far. So that's yeah, you can see it in the next few years, maybe. I hope so. Yeah. In conclusion, just 2 sentences. Yeah, making an open source project is okay. But to build a project together with friends, this is indeed, this is great at these prices, and that triggers me a lot, guys.
All right, thank
Great,
you, Alex.
Yay.
Actually, I have some points I would like to reflect on about your speech. So regarding sponsorship, I think sponsorship can come in many ways. For example, a sponsorship could be just a feedback from your peers, actually, on how you do your talks or how you work on your project. It's not only about the money or the support of, I don't know, big brother or family. It's also support from your peers. So when you get your feedback, about your public speaking, for example, that I know you had issues with, at least you just said so, then having a really good feedback could feel like sponsorship as well. And as well as finding other people to work your projects on. That is also a kind of sponsorship. So I would suggest that our listeners could expect sponsorship not only in form of money when they start their own projects, but in form of other people's support and feedback in any form, which is great.
Yeah,
Regarding putting stuff,
absolutely agree. Contributing is a welcome in any form. So yeah, please find it in our GitHub page. I agree.
yeah, also one point to reflect on is putting stuff on your CV. If actually you're doing any work and putting that on CV can easily be a icebreaker in the conversation. So for example, when I talk to other people and they see the setup of microphone and headphones, they always do like, wow, you have such a nice setup. What do you do? And then I start talking about XTechnology and people just get easier. It's easier to talk to people afterwards.
Yeah, that indeed. I also experienced that. Yeah.
A few points about procrastination. There is a great technique called Pomodoro when you work 25 minutes focused on something and then you have a 5-minute break. Actually, that's not set in stone. You can change those times to different sets. But I tried it. It actually works. It makes you feel great because in 25 minutes there you can achieve something. And when you achieve something even small and have those 5 minutes to celebrate, at some point you start you have more self-confidence, you start believing in yourself, and that any problem could be overcome.
Yeah, again, great point. I don't use the Pomodoro tomato technique, but but I think I use it internally. Something I like that. So yeah, it's I think it's about the flow and how you work on something yourself. But I absolutely agree. It's a great technique. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. I also just one thing for me. You said that you want to switch to a growth mindset from a fixed. From my side, I can say that you're already quite far on the growth one.
Okay.
But keep going.
Yeah, that's actually a talk of compliments is happening, right? So, okay.
I have a question on PizzaScript. Have you ever considered to put some elements like ham, ketchup, something into the language?
Yeah, I think thanks for the question. It's there is a funny story actually how it started, why it went for PizzaScript. So my background is JavaScript, and JavaScript is a crazy language. Like it can behave basically differently, and you cannot predict. People will hate me for what I'm saying, but it's known for very dynamic nature. Let's say like that. So we thought it would be nice to have a language that just changes behavior. For example, based on the date, right? If it's an odd date, that will behave one way, or if it's just other number, it will behave the other way. Or maybe it will do the if statement differently based on some random number. Or so we thought it would be nice to play with that. Yeah.
And it is nice indeed.
Okay, so I guess the time for our second speaker, Igor, now. Igor, the floor is yours.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, so thanks for introducing me. That's going to be my small talk about my personal growth, and it's a small disclaimer, it will be quite personal, and also people who know me, they know that I'm good in stating different problems, but not in suggesting different solutions. So this will be mostly to talk about my path. So who am I? I work now as a data scientist for the last 5 years, I suppose. But in total, I work in IT a bit more than 10 years. And I'm one of these only IT guys who hadn't ever had his own side project, but I always want to have one, but still didn't manage to. And yeah, so basically, why didn't I manage to do it? So I could state the main two problems. The first one is that I always found something else to do. Could be watching some movies or doing sports, as Alex said, or hanging out with my friends. I cannot say that I don't like to do it, but anyways, it was having all my time and I couldn't just move from this point. And another very important thing for me is that I didn't know how to start alone. So I had a lot of ideas, but the main point of how to start doing things was not clear for me. So I was like just going through different internet websites, listening, asking questions, but hadn't ever started doing anything. And that's how we got to the point of XTechnology. So Alex already told a couple of points about it. So I will just probably tell a bit of the same, but from my perspective. So finally, in the very end, in the very beginning, we joined together with Alex. So it was already two of us. I wasn't alone. That's much easier for me. And I wanted to summarize a bit the goals, the motivation, why to do that. And here are some points. So we wanted to have fun. Also, I wanted to learn and share some things that I already know. Meet quite a lot of new people, and I could say that we managed to do that. And of course, the main thing is to build projects, side projects, fun projects, maybe not rocket science, but at least something. And speaking about this project, so I thought for a bit, what could it be? But as I'm a data scientist, then I decided to go for a data science project, and I didn't. So I thought that it's not doesn't make sense to go for something fancy. That's why I created this one. So I called it Airbnb Analytics. So it is an example of a real data science project from scratch, and it consists of 4 steps. First one, we should get the data. So we scrape the websites in order to obtain the real data. Then we clean and preprocess it. Then we build some ML models around it, and then we create some tool based on these models so that customers or my friends could use this and improve their lives. So currently we're in between of the second and the third step, but I promise that the rest will happen. And I will jump a bit deeper into motivation topics. So yeah, about development, motivation, and so on. So before starting, what were my main challenges? So why was I still procrastinating? I think I could point out a couple of reasons, and the main one of them is the so-called Dunning-Kruger effect. So a lot of you already know what it is. Just briefly, the more some person knows about some domain or area, the more they feel incompetent, or the less confident they are. So when you just start something new, you think that, yeah, it's so super cool. I tried this and that, and it all works, and I'm very, very proud at what I achieved. But then you go forward, you realize that there are many more things to know, and you're a bit upset, and you could fall to this so-called valley of despair. And that's very, let's say, bad point in your development process. So if you won't manage, if you won't succeed to get over it, then you will just stop. And the main achievement, like for anyone, could be just keep doing, keep stepping, keep doing the small steps, and slowly going forward. Your competency and professionalism will grow, and you will slightly feel more and more confident. And at some point, you will feel that, hey, it's not that scary anymore. I can do it, and it will be a bit more objective, and that's how you could succeed in almost anything. So just keep doing and not surrendering. Another thing which is very personal for me is so-called overcome the shame. I don't consider myself that I have some knowledge to share. So I always think that, hey, I know this, I know that, and since I know that it's not something important, so everyone can do it, and it's not anything that I should talk about. So I'm kind of a bit embarrassed to talk about the things which I consider easy. And that's also, I can understand that it's completely in my mind, but anyways, I have to deal with my demons, and that is a very important challenge for me. That actually a very important reason for me why to procrastinate and why not to do the things. And another psychological thing, which is called the comparison trap. So it's very hard not to compare yourself to the others. So you see a lot of friends who are successful, who are doing cool projects, I don't know, who are doing cool, like who are professional sportsmen, who are businessmen, millionaires, billionaires, whatever. And you think that your way is worse, your life is not that interesting. So you start thinking of, well, maybe I did something wrong and so on. And I think this is a never ending story. So since you started doing it, comparing, then there is no way out. So the only way to fight it is just not do it. So when you see that someone is successful in any area, you just say, yeah, cool, very cool, good for you, and you're a cool guy or girl. But I have my own way, and I will try to succeed in my things. And so another thing is it's more about the project. So what should I start doing? Should it be something on the cutting edge, like very new, exploring new methods in data science or deep learning domains, or should I just step back a bit and try to reproduce something easy? And I personally found that I'm not willing to explore the very fancy things. So I wanted just to have some basement to start with something simple. That's why I started this data science project from scratch. So it's quite basic, but it is quite comprehensive, let's say. So it sounded a bit negative, but of course there are some positive aspects. That's kind of, we will jump a bit after we started our project. So we got a couple of webinars and all went good, surprisingly, unexpectedly. And there are some positive outcomes that I could outline for myself. First of all, my, let's say, online presence is a bit bigger now. At least I have some Git history on my Git account. So before it was absolutely empty. Now I have some project, and there are small green cells on some days of the week. Not so many as I would like to have, but at least something. Also, we experimented with writing the articles. I have a couple of articles on Medium, which I'm also very proud of. And the very important things for me is public speaking. So I still am afraid of speaking publicly, but not that afraid as it was before. So I remember that before our first webinar, I was quite anxious, and I was thinking about all the tiny details, like how much water should I bring to the talk. And so now it's getting easier and easier. Yep, but anyways, there are still some issues or obstacles on the way. It's all good building the projects, but it's very time consuming. At least I still didn't manage to shape it in a way that I can only spend 1 or 2 hours a week, and that the project likely will progress. For me, it's either I don't do anything during the whole week, or I invest, I don't know, from 5 to 15 hours, and only then I see some result. So I still want to learn a bit how to be a bit more effective, and maybe even to plan, which is another pain of mine. But anyways, and also it's quite close. So for me, it's a bit hard to stay focused. So for example, when we announce our webinar and I have to present something, I have to implement some piece of my project. I do it. I'm very motivated. But since I'm finished with this and we got our webinar, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I achieved it, so now I can rest. Now I got my dose of dopamine, and I just stop doing anything. And then it's very hard to get back on track. So again, I need to find this consistency, how to be a bit more consistent. Yeah, but anyways, also there are some positive side effects which I didn't expect in the beginning. First of all, people are really, really nice. So not speaking only about Alex, but all of you guys who are listening and who helped me or us run this webinar and who contacted me after some webinars. So the community is very nice. People are very keen to engage in different talks and even to help you run the project, to even to write some code, to discuss. That is very awesome. I honestly didn't expect that it will be so easy and that everyone will be so appreciative. Yeah, another thing that's I feel like joy after implementing some of the parts or giving a talk, and it's close to, I don't know, running playing football for me. So I really love to play football, and I get a lot of endorphins after it, or dopamine, I'm not sure. And the same goes here. So it's kind of something which really brings me the good mood afterwards. Yeah, and another thing that's since we're doing these projects, I'm thinking what should I do next, although my project is far from being finished. But anyways, I already have quite some list of new ideas what to do next. And I realized that most definitely they won't be put in life, but we'll see. So I have a couple of interesting ideas, and maybe I will have effort and time and motivation to implement them. And yeah, so I try to summarize a couple of things that still bother me in terms of general personal development, since we're talking about personal growth. There are some things which I think a lot about, and I'm looking at I'm watching different videos and different conferences about it. And so I will be happy to discuss it. So the first thing is mentoring and coaching. So I know that I know from personal experience that it's very hard to start alone. That's why maybe maybe one could find a mentor or a coach who could help with this starting point. So you could go to someone more experienced, and they will tell you maybe not what to do, but how to overcome your struggles. And maybe they could also give you some advices of which direction you should follow. But although I find this idea quite nice, but somehow I haven't ever tried it in my life because I don't know, maybe I was too shy to ask around, like, hey, will you be my coach or will you mentor me? Yeah, so that's still something I have to try. Another one, yeah, is this I shape or T shape. So I personally like to know a bit more new things, but I'm not a fan of diving really deep into the things. So I think I shape is something when the person dives deep to the specific thing, and T shape means that I just superficially look at different objects, projects, areas, domains, and so on. And I don't know, I prefer the T shape. It's more fun for me to learn more things. But of course, I realize that it's kind of the easier way to get dopamine. So I just start something new. I do some small things, and I think, yeah, I achieved a new result. But maybe at some point of time, it makes sense to dive a bit deeper to become more professional in some area. Yeah, but as I said, it's a bit boring for me. That's why it's bothering me. Yeah, then the consistency. So still I haven't found a way to be consistent. So today is Saturday, and I'm pretty sure that after our webinar, I will just go and not maybe procrastinate, but I will do some sports, and I will hardly touch the project I'm working on, although it's quite, yeah, maybe I will drink beer or maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so I don't know how to be consistent so far. And so, yeah, I will be happy if someone will help me with this. And another one is planning or setting goals. I honestly try to write plans and I try to set goals for myself, but maybe I'm doing it in a bit careful way. So I'm not setting the goal of, I don't know, winning the Nobel Prize. I'm setting a small goal of, I don't know, start like implement some function or run a webinar next week, let's say. And I personally don't find it very useful for myself. So I try to set the goals to plan something, but for me, the overheads of managing all of this paperwork is a bit more than the benefits that they bring. But I see a lot of people around who do it. And again, this is a comparison trap. I see that they are doing it and it seems to help them. And I think, like, how could I engage it in my activities? Good. So yeah, I think it's time to summarize a bit. So some tips for me, if I would. Yeah, if you want to start something cool, you should find your teammates, so the colleagues which you are really happy to spend time with. And it shouldn't be only professional. I think the more personal it goes, the easier it's to run the projects. Then, of course, start small. Don't plan for creating a new Facebook app, or at least for me, it doesn't work. Maybe for someone it will. And then definitely set some checkpoints. So for me, what really helps, and thanks Alex for this. So when we just started engaging about this technology activities, he said, yeah, let's set the date for our first webinar. And at this moment, we didn't have anything, so we just had our first chat. And he said, yeah, this is the date, and it's approximately in 2 months, and we will present something. And that kind of makes you do the stuff and prepare it. And yeah, another thing which I found very useful for me, don't stick to initial ideas. So we all have some plans and thoughts and how to do the things and the view of how we should do something, but then be a bit more open, listen to your friends, colleagues, and they might have better ideas than yours, and you shouldn't consider your idea as your baby. So if they suggest something worth doing or looking at, then just try it and don't feel that you have to implement your own one, and don't feel that you have to defend your own one. So be a bit more open. Yeah, I think that's more or less all I wanted to say. I just want to show this nice picture of us presenting on a different webinar and say that, yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we're doing, and thanks for listening me.
Thank you, Igor. Actually, I have a few points that I would like to discuss a little bit in depth, or at least give maybe some comments. So yeah, you mentioned time consuming. So your side activities like actually doing these webinars is time consuming. What could help with that is actually writing a daily plan. I know it could be hard, and it's something you have to stick to every day, but actually writing a daily plan just keeps your mind sharp in a way that you remember what you have to do step by step in small things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that also could help with consistency, like keeping the focus, because while writing a plan, you would definitely want to include something that you really love to work on in that plan. And that could help a little bit with consistency. I know it's a kind of a joking advice. I know that just write a plan. It's easier said than done, but I believe that writing it every day could actually help. Another thing that I think could help is eating your frogs early. So if you get to something that you don't really like to do really early in the morning, then you feel better after you have done it. And that leaves more space for your own for more space and time to work on your own ideas and side projects.
Yeah, Dima, thanks a lot. I mean, that definitely makes sense, and I should start doing it. At least the second advice is very cool. So start from the things which you don't like the most. And I very often don't do it. So if I have something to implement, I wait for 4 p.m. and then start doing it. That's very typical.
We have one question in chat actually. So, does sport experience help you with technical projects?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer it. I would like to think that it does help, because when I do sports, I become a bit more happy. If I'm happy, I'm a bit more productive and, you know, open to the world, to something new, and a bit more motivated. So I would say yes, that sport helps me be more motivated, let's say, and I could use this motivation for technical projects.
Yeah, I could also add to that physical exercise actually helps new neuron connections to be built, and that actually help with any technical or mind-involving labor. One more thing I wanted to reflect on is mentoring. So yeah, being shy to ask someone to mentor you is actually, I think that happens a lot to people. But if you put it in a perspective that actually asking someone being your mentor could be helpful for the person as well, because they will get experience mentoring, then it's kind of you can put it as your benefit. It will benefit you both, and that makes the shyness go away, because you're basically doing a great thing for both of you, and that could also that way we could overcome shyness in a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I think it's time for our third speaker, Mila, to start with her presentation. Mila, are you ready?
I'm ready. I will be short this time. So I just wanted to say what were my original goals in joining XTechnology. So basically, I just wanted to show the projects I'm working on and techniques I'm using, because some of them are really fun. And I wanted to provide some education for newbies. My tech goals here are practically the same as they would be anyway, but here I have some higher sense of duty, because I'm doing it live or I update it publicly. I experienced some unexpected side effects, definitely meeting new nice people, and the interesting part is also understanding the issues and progress on the other side of the tech. With that, I mean on the Java side of the tech. And what I experience here a lot is huge peer support and huge amounts of endorphin produced in our projects and meetings. And that's what I appreciate really a lot. So that's my short story.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
What I could also add to this is actually getting yourself into new surroundings could be a very great motivational tool. And not even meeting new people, which is actually great, but going to new places, try to work in a new environment that you haven't worked before, like go visit a library, or go visit maybe a really crowded space, or join a hackathon. I know that could be hard for some people to be around many other people, but that's something that could give you more inspiration, actually. Regarding procrastination, what I could also add is a great way to overcome it is to watch for procrastination cues. So something that gets you sucked in. For example, you could just innocently go check your phone for new emails, and then find yourself browsing Facebook for 25 minutes because, well, there it is. It's just in your phone. So one of the watching for procrastination cues and trying to overcome those tiny little things that make you make you sucked into your telephone is one way to deal with it. Okay, I don't think I have anything else to add, but we can summarize our talk today. So today we've actually covered a lot of stuff. So sponsorship on your personal ideas, what to expect, where to find support, how to celebrate your small things that you've done, how to set technical goals, how to deal with imposter syndrome, how to be consistent, how to motivate yourself and others, where to find time for all this, how not to be shy, how meet new people and share your projects and be great about it. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. It was a great show. Follow XTechnology on Twitter. I don't think we have Instagram, on Twitter or Telegram. And watch out for new XTechnology streams. And thanks a lot again. See you next time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.